Shall we?
Okay.
Yes.
Pause.
Okay, go ahead.
Welcome, everybody. This is Finishing the Bottle, technically part 2, right? We'll call it
No,
part
this
two.
is the third.
Third?
Finishing the bottle.
Oh, wait. Yeah, sorry.
This is the third finishing the bottle.
Welcome, everybody. This is Finishing the Bottle, part 3. So we're going to do a little something different this time. We have, I could do like a ring boxer, like a boxer, like announcer type of thing. Like
You can.
And in this corner,
Sure.
we have Lon Black, who is in love with Dead and Breakfast. And in this corner, we have the British invasion, lover of Shaun of the Dead. So what we're going to do is these two guys have just, ever since we started talking about doing a podcast about these two shows, they just bicker back and forth. Mine's better than yours, like two kids.
Sometimes
Anyway.
we're talking about the movie.
Yes. I didn't say mine's bigger. I said better. Anyway. So I thought, you know what, this would be a good opportunity to kind of let them duke it out. That's why I sat in the center. So anybody that's seen on the other episodes, yeah, I've got to be the middleman here. And if they start throwing punches, you'll see me leave. No. But yeah, so we want to discuss the two movies, let them kind of give their counterpoint. Nobody say Jane, you ignorant slut. Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna start off with maybe. I guess we could even make it. We could make it even like a lawyer type thing, and you've got closing arguments.
That's fine. We can do something like that. But let's start where we start every episode.
Sure.
With some booze.
Oh, there's
Okay.
that.
All right.
Don't mind that.
I've been waiting for this. So the last two episodes, if you've watched the last two episodes, which I'm sure you have,
Because you love us.
the last two episodes we did for Shaun of the Dead and Dead and Breakfast. We paired a bourbon, the top-selling American bourbon for Dead and Breakfast, which was Maker's Mark.
Yep.
And surprisingly, these guys did not like Maker's Mark.
Who knew?
Now, there was some earlier drinking going on, and I had blamed that. I said, well, your taste buds have changed for that or whatever. And then, of course, we had that wonderful English Aberdeen,
Adnams.
Adnams.
Which sounds like some kind of disease, right?
Doesn't
Yeah.
it, though? Adnams.
You can get a cream for that now.
That was imported from England, one of the only, like, the 5 whiskeys that are made in England. And
Hence why there's only 5 of them.
it was disgusting. It was horrible. So we had 2 what they consider bad ones in a row. Now, I like
Maker's Mark.
Maker's Mark
You can't even
a
remember the
lot.
name.
See,
I
yeah,
do
that's how
remember the
bad it
name.
is.
So what we're going to do is...
Oh no. It's like I got the number 4.
He's just mixed the two things together.
Yeah. We have
No.
Maker Adnams. Oh no.
We are going to blind taste test
Oh, shit.
This is no bueno.
5 different similar price pointed. Yes, sir.
Holy Christ.
Similar price pointed whiskeys.
And he
wait,
labeled them as well.
I understand it's 5. We will kind of go light on. That's why I did shot glasses. We're not going to be drinking 5 glasses
He's
of
going to fill the glasses.
bourbon here. But these are similarly priced pointed. Now, if you notice, in fact, you guys, oh, there you go. You don't even need your glasses,
Yes.
gentlemen. You can push
Okay.
your glass to the side.
Oh.
You'll need the space for this. So we have an A, and you can face them towards you or face them toward the audience. A B, C, D, and E. Correct?
Yes, sir.
I concur.
Okay. Let's pull out the liquors. Now,
Honestly, if one of them is your urine,
Oh my God. You're in ball glasses?
I would have a
Let me-
real
He's
problem.
like, this is sweat
So-
from my taint.
there's a system to this, and here's the reason.
Jesus Christ. Did you go to Moonshiners or
I
something?
The point of this is I had to take them out of the bottle,
Of course.
so you didn't see them. And here's the fun part: is I also do not know what is what.
Ooh.
I had
Okay.
Amy
I was
put
gonna
them
say, good.
together.
All right,
So
good.
I took all the bourbons that I wanted to rate for this, and there had to be 5 for a
Oh, no.
reason. I'll explain it once we show what those whiskeys are, but I'm not going to tell you what those whiskeys are, so you don't know how to compare. All I'll tell you is that these whiskeys are all in the similar echelon
Okay.
of range. In
Now-
other words, they're all considered this level based on price.
So one quick thing.
Not Warwick,
You've
right.
probably had these at some point, I'm assuming. These are not like brand new to you. You've probably had them at some point.
So
What I'm
I
assuming.
can tell you this. There is one in here that I consider in my top 10 bourbons. In fact, maybe even top 7 bourbons.
Interesting.
Okay.
And one that I consider swill that I refuse to drink.
You don't know which one.
But I don't know which one it is.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I'm testing myself as well on this.
Okay.
But I figured since there was such a separation of,
Church
this
and
is a
state.
great bourbon, this is a shitty bourbon.
This is a great movie. This is a shitty movie.
Hey, you
I see
got
where
it,
he's
see where we're
going.
going. Okay. So let's see. That's C,
Smarts.
E, B, A, and D.
Why is that one really thick? Just kidding.
Well, we looked at the colors of these two, and now the
Interesting.
only
They all are
difficult
very
part
similar.
is, well, they are, but like one's very yellow.
Oh my
and we
god!
have
Oh, it's all over the place. Just kidding.
One is very dark. But
Good thing you did that before you.
as we know, whiskey makers color their whiskey,
Yes.
so it's not
That
necessarily
doesn't
even
add anything to it. Why do that?
because it's
Because
an
that's what
appeal
people are
thing. It
used
looks
to.
good.
Yeah.
Really?
It looks like it's
So wait,
richer.
so it originally didn't have the coloring in it, right?
Um,
Or is
you
that
know-
something that kind of just came along as time went on, or is that something like that? This
I
is
think
me
it was
not
added
knowing
as
shit
no.
about.
I think it was added as time went on
Okay.
because people wanted their whiskey that dark color, and everybody does this. You know, when they pick up the glasses, oh yeah, it's got a good color.
But
It's
just
added
it's
to
an
be that
additive.
color,
Yeah,
right.
that makes no sense. to
So
me.
people don't understand that really the lighter ones in
Do you
these
punch people that say that?
are a little bit. No,
Okay, you
I
should.
just ignore them. It's
Okay.
it's hard to tell on some of these, but it's like some of them get very light. In fact, we went to World of Whiskeys in Chicago,
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Bastards.
we had a plethora.
You were invited.
I was, but I was out of town.
The next one that I asked them, there is another one this year. They just haven't announced it yet.
Oh.
So, but the point is, there was a Scotch there that we went to that we tried, Torborg.
Mm-hmm.
That was very pale yellow.
Come up with these
It did
names?
not look appealing,
It's Scottish.
but it was a delicious Scotch. It was
Yeah.
a Scotch.
Okay.
It was awesome.
But anyway, so let's get started because this
All
is
right.
going to take a long time.
So how are we doing this in terms of
We're gonna pour it all.
our battle royale?
we're gonna pour them all, and then we're gonna sample it. So then we're gonna say which one is our best, which one is the worst, best, worst, in the middle, however we want to do that.
Oh,
so we
okay,
can
okay,
tell.
okay.
And then we're gonna pull out what those whiskeys are.
So what I think we should do is during each shot. So we'll do shot number 1. Obviously, we're doing this on the fly, people, but no
On the
editing.
fly, people.
But because this is kind of like what we do, we just fuck around with shit. But anyway, my thought is, after we do a shot, then you've got to give a point of why your movie is better than the other.
Oh, I like it. I like it. So we can
So
do
then
both in
by the time we get
tandem.
to E, it's going to be like, fuck your movie.
I
but
like
so
it.
to be clear, are we doing shots or are we
No,
doing
no,
sips?
we never do
well,
shots.
I say
we
shots
sip.
because it's a shot
We
glass.
sip.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
We sip. You do
Now,
not
do I got to
shoot
like
this stuff.
do the whole like swirl and check it and pinky
You
out?
do whatever the fuck you want to
When
do.
in doubt, pinky out.
You do what you want to do.
what
I'm
she-
excited
that's what she
about
said.
this too because I don't know what they are.
But you'll know based off the smell.
I'll know some of them, but some of them I won't because, like I said, one of these are one that I refuse to drink.
Man, we
So I
went
haven't
from-
had it in forever.
We went from 1 thing per movie to now all of a sudden we're on 5.
Well-
Jesus, I don't know if we can keep up with this.
That's the way alcoholism works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the way I like it.
See, because this one looks the most appealing because it's nice and dark and rich.
But the
But
dark
it may
doesn't
be
do
swill.
anything for me.
Okay,
Like,
well, there you go.
I would almost prefer it be clear.
Clear?
Yes, because
But it can't be
it's
clear
an
because it's-
additive that,
No,
that,
no, no,
that
it's
doesn't
not.
add any flavor
But
to
it's
it.
not completely an additive. They're lighter in oak because they still soak in the oak flavor.
Right, right.
That
and
was
it
what I
does
assumed.
become
Is
colored.
the wood would give it
It's
some
just
sort of color.
not dark. The darker, richer auburn is
But
what people
is that
want.
so? Are they hiding then the fact? Because like I'm assuming as it stays in the barrel for a length
Yes.
of time,
Yes.
it's going to absorb more. So
Correct.
are they pretending like, oh well, it's not dark enough?
Correct.
Throw a little additive. That's
Basic.
Well, I'm sure that's
That's
probably why
basic.
they started doing it. Yeah.
yeah, it's cheesy.
Basically.
But so then they're lying because you're supposed to be, if it's supposed to be aged 5 years, give it 5 years. Are they waiting like?
Well, I will say some of them get dark because they are naturally getting that dark because they are properly aged or whatever, but not all of them.
Is there some special way to do the age processing? Isn't there something?
There's a
you
way
can
to
do?
make it a little faster that's called staves, and they put oak staves.
What's a stave?
Well, a piece of wood.
Stave's not here.
A stave is like, so when a cooper is making a barrel,
He's teaching me.
huh?
Keep
said
going. I
he's-
love
he's
it. You're
teaching me.
right.
Keep going.
Keep going. This
So,
is
so
awesome.
basically, the staves are the vertical pieces that make up the barrel.
Okay.
So, like, you know,
Vertical wooden pieces were like.
right. So,
okay.
so when I was obviously barrels made out of wood, and the wood is cut straight, and it's softened and angled, and you make however many, I don't know however many they make to make up a barrel, and then you have metal pieces around, and the cooper
The rings.
basically sticks them all in, and obviously it's that last one that kind of pushes everything tight around.
Sure.
And so what they'll do, correct me if I'm wrong, is you'll have all of the staves made with one type of wood, and then they'll add in a stave that is a different wood.
Correct.
Okay.
So they will add in I could go into some of these other ones. There's a French oak stave for Maker's Mark, for instance, where they do it in the oak, but then they put in staves. They float staves of French oak in there to get a little bit more of a honey flavor, a little bit sweeter flavor, or smoother
So
vanilla
that's why I
kind of
don't like
flavor.
it. It's the French oak.
Well, that's a different. We didn't taste that.
Oh,
one. That was
yeah.
a different one.
Trust me,
tried.
But
there was nothing French in
Yeah. Okay, so
It's
let's
true.
do it.
Actually, it was supposed to be.
So,
All right.
whatever A is, which
Okay.
I
A?
do not know.
All right. Do we smell first and go? or-
No, you just shoot it. Of course, you smell it first. Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Why did that hit my? Okay. Here we go.
It was smooth at first, but then it kind of,
Yeah, it's got some burn to it now.
yeah, it did a little burn afterwards.
Okay.
And so there's scotches and bourbons in here?
No,
or
no,
just bourbons?
these are, okay, I will say they're just
there's the bourbon.
American
I'm feeling it,
bourbons, and they're all around the same price point within $10 or so.
Okay.
10, maybe $15. So there could be,
I should ask the question.
Some up there.
Are any $10 to $15?
no, none of them
Themselves.
are in the $15 range.
Okay.
They're all well above 20.
That's not bad. Okay.
I don't
The
think
smell did not
I-
do much for me, but then the taste is actually.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Oh,
I'm not a big fan, but it's not bad.
Was this? Did I just spill it? I did. Son of a bitch! I spilled it myself.
Wow, just don't
Missed
hit
the
those
mic.
lab
Yeah, I
ones.
missed the
Okay,
mic.
okay. So that was pretty good. Do we want to try the sample and then talk, or we're doing one
All
after
right,
every
let's
sip?
no. Okay.
Okay.
So we're done with A.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's give our quick review of the shot, I guess, right? And then
Sure.
and then-
I was not a big fan, but I don't hate it either. It did not taste good. It tasted a little pungent at the end, but it was a little smooth. But then it had a burn on the back end,
yeah.
right? Which normally isn't so bad. I don't mind the
That's
burn
me
down the
describing
chest.
Taco
I just
Bell.
didn't want the burn on the tongue.
But
Yeah.
well, right, it's so I definitely have the burn. I don't have aftertaste,
Yeah.
which
Right.
is typically what I don't like.
Sure.
It was pleasant without
Ish?
necessarily, if I was doing a barrel scale, I would
Right.
probably be thinking certainly high 2s, if not into the 3s
Out of a 5.
out of 5.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know if it was just me, but to me, it smells plasticky.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't.
could
I
get
got
that
like
too.
I thought it was the cup at first. That's why I just double checked with B to make sure. But no,
Right.
it's definitely whatever that is.
I would give it a 2 as well. I think.
I'd give it a 2.5.
Okay,
Because it's
okay.
enough where I liked the burn on the back
Yeah.
end. I didn't mind it so much. It smelled, like I said, it smelled worse than what I thought it tasted.
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Agreed. And there was still a pungent taste to it. A little funk to it.
I didn't get pungent.
I got funk. I got funk.
With the smell, I wouldn't count out the idea that the plastic glass
Oh, that this has something to
has
do with
something
that.
to do with that.
Yeah,
It's
you
entirely
can get a
possible.
shot
That-
glasses with etchings and no.
Right.
There is a
Glass
reason
glass.
when you go to a high-end bar and they pour you a drink, they don't give you a solo cup.
Fuck you. Okay. All right.
We
All right.
appreciate you, Lon.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So now,
Okay, so now I want a point, counterpoint. So
Okay.
I'm going to start off with Dead and Breakfast.
What do before you start that part? Do we want to talk to the fact that even though this is something that, as Logan has said, this is something that the two of us, Lon and I, have talked back and forth about. If you watch the previous episodes, you will see that at the end of the day, both of us kind of like both movies.
absolutely, we both love both movies. They're
It's
both
it's
fantastic.
not that we think that one sucks and the other one doesn't.
Right. But for different reasons.
But for
we
different
like
reasons.
them,
But
yes.
the other thing really is both movies came out in 2004, and I think we established that Shaun of the Dead actually came out first.
No, Dead and Breakfast.
Dead and Breakfast came out a few months before.
Okay,
Shaun of the
but then
Dead, I
it
believe.
was Dead and Breakfast that was coined as the American Shaun of the Dead.
Yes,
Right.
because I don't think it did very well in the box office.
Correct. It did not. So people didn't know it even came out until well after Shaun of the Dead.
And so that's part of the discussion, right?
Yes.
Like literally, that statement was what created the conversation of like, that's ridiculous. There's nothing, about these two. Shaun of the Dead is clearly better, and then
Except for
Look, he
the,
had
except
to-
for that
he had to
part.
throw his little
Except
notch
for
in
that
there.
part, that it's
Yeah.
clearly better.
Clearly better.
Anyway, so
I
that's-
do disagree to that point that it's not clearly better. I think they are both wonderful movies, but to me, it's hard to compare the two, and we explain why they're comparing the two, but really they are different movies. But they both had music in them, but only one had a musical. Only one actually had a nice storyteller that the narrator sang the songs and continued the story through it. And, Shaun of the Dead was just a straightforward story.
But well,
So okay, so wait, hold on. Okay, we're getting out of okay. Hold on. All right. Time out. Okay. Anyway, so what I was gonna do was I was gonna go along the lines of how do you think the plot compares, like as far as which do you think is better and why?
Shaun of the Dead.
Plot wise. For both of you, that's like kind of the question I was gonna go with plot. You already went into the music side. I'll get to that, but plot. If the plot of the film,
How long are you going to ask this fucking question? I'm ready to answer.
Is it
So
going to
the
be long?
plot.
Is it going to be longer than the answer?
So I'm
So the
sure. Is this
plot.
about the plot? Listen.
go ahead and tell.
There's some fantastically wonderful movies out there that have less than significant plots.
So he's
I don't
already
think-
accepting the fact that
I
it's
don't
not a
think
great
that it's
plot.
not
Get your turn. You'll
necessarily
get your turn.
meaning about the plot. I think if it's the delivery of the story, I think it's great. Every story has holes in their plot. I think as a storyline,
Yeah.
it's a wonderful storyline.
Sure.
They drive out in the middle of nowhere. They kind of get lost in Lovelock, and all this shit starts going down here. I mean, it's still funny as it plays out. Is it a tight storyline for point and things that happen? No, but
No.
let's face it, zombies in any movie are not going to be a realistic storyline.
Okay, so now you're the one that's complaining about realism.
No, I think the realism was way better in Dead and Breakfast than Shaun of the Dead.
So-
Okay. So
okay.
now we'll let you
So-
counterpoint that.
So if we're talking just story, I think that Shaun of the Dead has a very clear story. I think it is. It's a tight story. I mean, it's like, yes, undoubtedly you could say yes, it follows the same storyline to like many other.
It had the trope, right? Yeah.
Right. In other words, like the idea is like, hey, something bad is happening. I have loved ones somewhere else. I have to get to those loved ones, and then we have to try and find
Is
safety.
that Walking Dead?
That's every
I think
story.
that's
That's
pretty
every
much every
movie
story.
ever.
Sorry.
But
That's
it's
every boring storyline
To your point
ever.
of realism, that's realistic,
Right,
right?
and
I mean,
that's the
how
whole thing.
often do
But
people?
But it's boring
But
too.
it's the whole the Kumon thong. It's
Kumon
like,
Thong is
come on.
hilarious. That's there
See,
you
that's
go,
what they
right
were
there.
trying to go for. Was
You're
come
answering
on,
my
Thong."
question.
All right. Anyway.
You're answering my
There you
question. It was way more interesting because they had put things like the Kumon Thong and ridiculous things that made it funny.
But at this moment, what we're talking about is story,
And I
And-
just rebutted that.
and this.
He butted.
But you didn't. You just you took this. You said the story was like it was because of the comedy. What I'm saying with Shaun of the Dead is it's like, yes, undoubtedly Shaun of the Dead is a comedy, but it's the story. I think stands on its own. I think I like the story in Shaun of the Dead. Again, it's not that I don't like the story in Dead and
You
Breakfast.
like it better.
I just like Shaun of the Dead's story better.
Okay, you're wrong.
So
Okay.
now
Next
we
is
will
B.
move on to number B.
So clearly, I won that argument.
Okay, B.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we need to?
Maybe.
Oh yeah, cleanse
Maybe,
that
yeah.
palate.
Do
Already it smells a lot
you have
better.
a sorbet that we could?
Sure, I've got a charcuterie board sitting over there.
So I can cleanse my
I,
palate.
I can tell you right now, the smell is way better than A. I'm liking A less.
This is probably the one he gets a boner over. Okay,
Oh,
the smell is better.
smell is really good.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, my favorite so far. Well, I mean, we're only 2 in.
Oh no,
That's pretty smooth.
that is very smooth.
I don't have the burn.
I got
It's
burn
got
on
a
the lips.
lot of flavor.
But it's definitely not as big of a burn as A.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna.
Oh, yeah,
You know
that's-
how I'm gonna organize
that's
these?
really
is-
good.
This is gonna be like a.
Yeah, that's what I do too. Right.
This will be like my number
So,
one. right?
like,
Yeah.
I'm like this so far.
I
B's
like
been-
this.
Yeah, it's
This
got a
is-
good flavor.
Yeah, I did have a burn though.
Oh,
well, sure,
it has
you
a burn.
gotta
but
have
it's
a burn.
not like-
You like the burn.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Yeah, but it was definitely not as much as A. I'll tell
But
you
A had more of the funk. This is smooth and delicious.
that.
This has flavor. This has vanilla.
Right.
I taste honey. I taste
Flavor.
oak. I taste.
Yeah, this is definitely more flavorful.
Where do you get oak? I don't. How do you know what oak tastes like? Have you licked oak?
It's
before?
it's.
He's licked wood.
Wow. Wow. It comes down to that aftertaste. It comes down to when you do the.
It's like it was one time in college. Anyway.
It was the 60s. Every now and then one slipped in.
Okay. Point counterpoint. What do we got? What's next?
Okay, so the next thing, I was going to go with acting.
You were going to go with that
Why would
because
you-
this podcast thing isn't working out for you.
Because the
Yeah,
podcast
yeah.
doesn't pan out.
Yeah, 'cause that's
he's gonna
gonna-
fall back.
Jesus, that's going to last me about 2 seconds. No, the acting in Dead and Breakfast.
Yeah.
How would you rate that against
Okay,
the
so
acting in Shaun of the Dead?
Let me start by just saying the actors in Dead and Breakfast were not famous until after Dead and Breakfast.
Sure.
Other than David Carradine, of course, who was in Kung Fu and many others and
Hung himself.
hung
masturbated.
himself, allegedly. But
Conspiracy theory.
but they were excellent actors. They just didn't get their due until after this movie.
Okay, that's great.
And
but-
I think they acted fantastically in this movie, and that's what helped them extend their career later.
Okay.
This is, as we said at the beginning, this is something where it's like, on that I do not disagree. I think the acting is really not that bad in Dead and Breakfast. I think in Shaun of the Dead, whilst it's not, I think because of the production values of Shaun of the Dead, I think the acting, to me, comes across as a little bit better. I will say with the one exception of David,
What?
it's like I didn't.
You didn't like
oh,
David's
God,
acting?
I hated David's acting, which
I'll agree with that. I'll
which
concede to
also
that.
I've seen him in other there's an
I didn't say every actor was excellent. Let's put it that way.
Right.
I'll concede that one. He wasn't that awesome.
But it's like I also think that comedies, as they always say, like comedy is actually the hardest
Sure.
to act well.
sure.
Yeah, it's timing.
I agree with that.
And there is a reason why Nick Frost and Simon Pegg have done so many movies together. Admittedly,
gel.
not all of them are great. Paul, but
most of them.
but it's I think they work incredibly well together. And although it's a typical kind of funny thing, most English actors seem to be classically trained just because
Because it's the British thing to do.
yeah, because everyone goes into theater and stuff like that.
Everybody trains at Juilliard. Well, actually,
Yes.
that's in New York. But
Yes.
So,
So
okay.
I want to add to that, though, to add a little bit more. If you could put one famous actor, rule out David Carradine, obviously, you want to leave him in there, but to Dead and Breakfast, what actor or actress would it be?
Would I add?
Yeah, like add it, meaning I should say take away one of the other actors and put this in its place. Put
Uh,
this person.
I want Nathan Lane to play the deaf and mute gardener.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's kind of more of a cameo.
Yes.
I would go for that. I would actually put, now, I just went blank on his name.
We'll help you. Keep describe.
Tusk.
Justin
Long.
Long, yeah.
I would put Justin Long in that movie because he's sort of nerdy, teenage,
Which
goofy guy.
character, though, would you have him
He would have to take.
Yeah, it can't be Joey because Joey's kind of an asshole and not
I
Joey.
feel like he would
See,
be.
I'm calling him from
It's
Frank.
funny you say his
Johnny.
Johnny.
Can
yeah,
be Johnny.
That's
because
exactly what I was thinking.
and maybe he plays out a character or plays out like his normal character because it's like typically Justin Long doesn't play like the evil character.
Right.
Oh, he does in
He would be.
Barbarian, but
I think he would be a good Christian. I think he'd be good as Christian.
sure.
Even though Christian dies very early in the movie, I think he'd be a great Christian.
I think he'd be a good Enos.
That's true. Yeah.
Enos?
Enos or Anus?
That's Enos.
Enos.
Out of all the characters, Enos?
I think Enos would be cool.
Yeah, I guess because he's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right.
Although
I'd
he
put him
does
in that.
ultimately turn.
I'd
but-
put him in that.
Yeah. Okay. Same thing to you.
Clearly, Laurence Olivier to replace David. No. Actually, I would love to see like a Ricky Gervais,
Okay.
in, and he could replace.
He's got a different style of comedy though than Shaun than Simon
Yeah, but you
Pegg.
saw the original Office.
Yes, but
Because
I don't-
that's very dry.
it is dry. But
Like-
it's not. It's a different kind of humor to me. It's more like
Were you about to say it's a different kind of humor altogether?
Would you say though that like he'd be a good replacement for Eddie?
See, the problem is that I just love Nick Frost.
Correct. I'm not
But again, I could see him replacing David.
sure.
Because David is very dry. But I think he could bring a little bit more comedy
Yeah.
to it.
He would have some way more one-liners, I think.
Absolutely.
To actually make that character a little, because David didn't have many lines, right? I mean,
Right.
so he would, I feel like, would add way more to it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Okay.
okay.
That wasn't too bad.
All right.
All right.
I love it. Let's move on to C.
All right, we're on
I do
C.
see we're like only 2 in, and we're gone for about 26 minutes. So
Well, that's good.
We're doing
should be
okay?
about an hour.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is C. Oh wait, palate cleanser.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Cleanse it. Yummy. Did you hear? There's a name. There's a name for. There's a name for when you can't sleep and you get up and eat in the middle of the night. It's called insomnia. I'll be here all night.
You can
Number
tell
C.
you can tell your grandmother.
Letter C. Letter C.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Well, smells good.
Oh.
But
oh.
it doesn't smell as good as B though.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Oh.
I know exactly which one that is.
Oh my God.
I know which one that is, and
Wow.
and I don't like.
Well, I know it's not Zachariah Harris because that's still in the closet here.
I know
Oh.
exactly which one that
So
is.
that was like an immediate burn and then it's gone. It didn't even make it down my chest.
But it's funny.
But I
'cause
recognize the
because I
taste.
like the smell. But it's like as soon as it hit my taste buds, it
Yep.
was like, oh.
Yep. It doesn't have the funk
Okay, I'm
that
gonna do it
A
again.
does,
Man, you are funked out with that one.
but it does. I know that taste, and I'm not a fan
So
of that taste.
would you label A George Clinton?
This funkadelic.
Oh my God!
Wow, that took you a second.
Yes.
Because I'm like, where are you going with this?
There was a lot of
Not Bill
Where
Clinton,
you going
George
with this?
Clinton.
there
All
was
right.
a lot of shoe leather. There was a lot of shoe leather on that one.
All right, I don't have to keep sipping that one because I
All
know
right,
where
I'm
we're
going to try
at.
it again.
All right,
It is funny.
Oh, God. All
right. I'm not a fan.
God.
It's but I know
Jesus, it got worse.
Before I pull them out, I'm going to tell you which
All right.
one that is. Not now.
Joe.
though.
That's what she said.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay. What do we got here? Where's your ranking? We're doing like
So, yeah, this is...
front
so,
of the table is higher, towards you is lower.
So he's doing his British thing.
I'm going left to right.
Yeah. See, you're about where we are, except I'm putting this barely above A.
Oh,
You're
it's, like,
below
still
A.
with me.
Wow, but you love the burn.
On A. Not on this one.
But you love burn in general.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
hottest thing we've had so far.
Disco Inferno.
Oh my God. Okay, next
All right.
D. or
Next one.
C,
Okay,
D,
so
C.
so we're on C.
C.
So let's
C?
do a
C.
fairly quick question. You already delved into it a little bit, but I wanted to go on the music side. So
Let's hit it.
Dead and Breakfast is a musical.
Not really.
Per se,
but
I don't like that they labeled it as a musical.
it's
because,
not a
just
musical.
because it has one
Nobody
dance
labeled
scene
it
in
as a musical.
Yes, I think it even said it on the box.
I was no.
I
Well,
think,
maybe they
I think
said
someone
on the
read
box.
that.
Somebody,
Wrote
yeah,
that
I
in
think
crayon.
that was a
Okay.
right. That was a fan art.
All
Right,
possibly.
because in reality, the definition of a musical, and I'm making this up, by the way,
Everybody singing
is
and-
everyone singing
yeah.
to progress the story.
Agreed.
It's like this is the story. The music was done as a way of, like number one person basically singing to move you from one scene to the next scene, and kind of catching you up if you had been falling asleep because of the story, up to that point.
But kind of describes what the guy was doing with the...
Not at all. There was only one person singing in that whole movie.
Yes, but
he was singing things that tell the story, that keep the story moving along.
So,
like with a musical, everyone's doing it.
yeah, technically that would make sense.
When you're Jets.
But that wasn't all
we
it
could say
was.
something about Mary's, then it would be a musical, right? 'Cause
Absolutely.
they are singing along.
There were troubadours that sang the story, moved along that way too. Exactly. And you loved that movie, didn't you?
So, yes, I did. So,
My movie
would
wins.
you
That's it.
would you
Peace out.
consider the music in Dead and Breakfast better than the soundtrack for Shaun of the
Okay,
Dead?
so here's
That's what
the
I was
difference.
getting at.
Here's the difference on that.
I
is
think there's apples and oranges there.
exactly. You can't compare Zachariah and Los Lobos Riders to Queen.
Zachariah? Was that his name?
Yes.
Zachariah and
That was
Los Lobos
Zachary.
Riders,
No,
which
Zachariah.
did we tag him in the last video? Because I
I
want
don't
him to know we're
I don't know.
talking
The other
about
ones didn't go up, or
Oh,
or
he's
something.
right. All right, we got to check
Fuck
those
that.
podcasts. But we're comparing apples to oranges here. Zachariah and Los Lobos, that music is fantastic. It fits the movie. It's made for the movie. Sort of country, sort of rap, sort of just fun to listen to, and it's catchy
So you're saying
songs.
country rap, C rap.
Crap. I knew where he was going. I knew it. I knew he was
God.
going. Perfect. Damn, you walked right into that one.
Wow. Illegal.
Again, I love
Oh,
the
and-
music in
And we're on C too. Go figure.
But
I
the thing
love the
is,
music.
that music was made for the movie. It told the story. The lyrics were about the movie. It was for, and he had several songs, different songs on there that were all written for the movie.
Sure.
So it's different. You can't compare that to Queen already had these hits out there, and that's why they used them.
right. And,
But see, no, yeah. Go,
but
I'll
to
let
take,
you.
but to take that a little bit further, I mean, I think it's also, we talked previously. It's Edgar Wright is known for being a master at picking a soundtrack that goes well with his movies, that like really play into every scene. And again, we said before, like very much like John Hughes. John Hughes' soundtracks are like phenomenal, and most of Edgar Wright's soundtracks are the same thing. But I 100% agree. It's a different kind of. You're trying to do a different thing when you're just simply doing a soundtrack for background noise. To kind
But
of
you don't want that, though, right? You don't want to have background noise. You want it to move the story forward. You want it to become part of the film.
Right. You're right. Background noise is the wrong thing to say. And it was like typically when you do a soundtrack, we've all watched those videos of like Psycho or The Exorcist where they take the music out and you're like
It just looks
like
ridiculous.
really
Right.
boring.
Well, shit, Halloween, even if you take the.
Right.
Yeah. Well, John Carpenter's a genius anyway.
Yeah.
Because
I
I'm assuming
second
we're
that.
talking about John Carpenter,
I
not
second that.
Rob Zombie.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my God, yeah.
Well, yeah, but that even in Rod Zombie would have looked silly if it would have been.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all movies.
But,
Okay, good. Sorry.
But again, I think I totally agree with Lon on this. It's like I think Dead and Breakfast, it's just a different. It's trying to achieve a different outcome.
Right.
And again, as much as I hate country music with a passion, I love the songs.
Because they're catchy.
So,
And fun, and he
if
raps
I'm hearing
on
this
even though it's
correctly, you're
country
saying
music.
that Dead and Breakfast was better than Shaun of the
I'm
Dead.
almost sure that's exactly what he said. I'm pretty sure. Okay,
So,
moving
here,
on.
well,
Ready for D.
Quickly though,
Let's
so
go to
quickly
move
though,
on to D.
which
No, I want
if you had two CDs in front of you, and maybe you're working, whatever, and you think, oh, I'm just going to pop one of these in. Which one would you rather listen to? You mentioned earlier in the other episode, go watch it, that when you hear a song from Shaun of the Dead, you picture that scene.
Yes.
Is that more important to you than the listenability of, say, okay, well, that you won't get that same feeling with Dead and Breakfast, but you'll get that toe tapping sense where you actually like the song and it's kind of.
I think that's a really good question. I think because, of course, Shaun of the Dead, they purposely pick popular songs that everyone knows.
Because they had the budget to do so.
Right. The point is, it's like, I think if I was in a situation where I was listening to music in the background, I would probably pick Shaun of the Dead every day. I own the soundtrack to Shaun of the Dead.
On vinyl?
On vinyl, of course.
I knew it.
But if I
Is
was,
there Dead and Breakfast title?
Oh, yes.
yes,
Really?
there is.
Yes.
I tried to get
shit.
it for long.
Okay.
Zachariah Los Lobos.
But if I was sitting down and wanted to truly concentrate and listen to the soundtrack, I probably would pick Dead and Breakfast because purely for the fact that listening to the soundtrack by itself, I would probably have the opportunity to really listen to the words of the song.
And they're funny. They're funny
Whereas,
lyrics.
like when you're watching when you're watching the movie, and there's typically other things going on in the scenes, sometimes your brain doesn't like really remember the songs, and you remember like little bits like the hemoglobin,
Right.
like words apparently.
Hemoglobin in my mouth, yo. Frontal lobe until I spit it out.
I think again two different
No, just kidding.
two different soundtracks.
Sure.
Agreed.
I would absolutely listen to. I will give soundtracks to Dead and Breakfast.
You don't need to give me nothing, you limey Brit. We know where this is going. Okay.
Okay, so
All
we
right.
got D.
D.
D's nuts.
D.
All right.
D. Lighter on the
This
smell.
smells like JD to me.
Sorry.
I'm gonna guess that one.
JD's and Jack Daniels, you think
Yeah.
that's... Oh. Okay, that's good.
Oh, wait, I didn't do my palate cleansing.
I did mine. That's, that's really good.
If I just spit out right on the floor. All right.
Oh, I do like that.
That's really good. Boy, I don't think it's as good as B. Hang on.
No, I think it's better than B.
Oh yeah.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
There's
I
no
think
burn.
this
though.
is
Might not. Are you guys getting any burn?
very
Yeah.
very
Very
little.
little.
Very
Like,
little.
Very very faint.
It's still in the back of the throat. You still get something.
Yeah, this is really good.
You think you know what it is?
This is your this is
It's definitely
the
not
horsey,
JD.
the one with the horse on top.
Oh, Blanton's.
Your Blantons.
So I will tell you that, remember I said these were all within the same price point.
Okay.
Blanton's is like a $250 bottle these days.
So then this is
I have no idea what I'm.
Four Roses.
A what?
Ooh,
Four
Four
Roses.
Roses maybe.
Oh, Four Roses.
Oh.
Okay.
That.
Remember your choices too, because when I pull them out, we'll see what they actually are. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I wouldn't even have enough
But
to guess. Oh, there's a little bit of a burn.
but
Ooh.
I do
I'm
put
gonna-
these two pretty much together. They're different
gonna do
bourbons,
that.
but they both taste equally well to me, equally
Yeah,
good.
I think D's,
So-
D's definitely better.
Oh, you think D is better? Okay.
Really?
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, before picking a topic, I do want to I'll bring up a topic
Okay.
that I think is sort
That's
of
good,
pertinent to this
'cause
whole
I've only
thing.
got one more topic. And
Okay.
It's gonna go with E.
Well,
so go ahead.
okay, good, because then we'll do closing statements or something. So, one of the things to me that makes a cult classic is that their opening weekend sucks, and we can all agree that all the cult classics sucked when they first came out, critically,
Yep.
sucked when they first came out, and then people started to discover them, and they became cherished favorites. Cherished favorites.
Good way of putting it.
Let me
Like-
bring something to your attention here.
Like Rocky Horror.
So,
Or Tucker and Dale, right?
When this-
Yeah.
And just to kind of go onto that, Tucker and Dale, I came in to do the live show, and there were people in the audience that had drinks with,
oh yeah, the
With
feet,
legs
the
in
feet
it.
sticking out.
legs
legs
sticking
sticking
out.
out. I
That
mean,
was awesome.
That obviously is a cult classic if
Yeah,
somebody's
I-
willing to go that far to
People
make a
were
drink.
really like when I posted that we were going to do that as a live show. We had tons of people that would like post with just simply linking to someone else's Facebook page.
Yeah.
As like a, hey.
To, hey,
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
attention to
And
this.
then that person would link to like 2 or 3 other people, and I think that was the group that there was I think easily like 8 people.
Nice.
I'm telling
yeah.
you, I want to have another live show just so they come back.
Yeah.
Because
they were fun.
I loved them. They dressed for the occasion. They were all wearing plaid.
Yep.
Yep.
They all had the hats. I was.
Yeah.
All we
All right.
needed was a wood chipper.
So-
anyway,
So to that point, I have a review for Shaun of the Dead from 2009.
Ooh.
Don't go reading my stuff.
I can't.
Don't go
I
reading-
can't
okay.
see shit right now.
That said, the U.S. answer to Shaun of the Dead.
From 2009.
From 2009, they gave it from
So
U.S.
this is
answer
6
to
years
Shaun of the
later?
Dead. It is not. But clearly, low-budget film, it holds its own. Silly, outlandish horror comedy gave it 2 stars.
out of
Out of
Get
5.
that, Shaun of
10?
the Dead gave Dead and Breakfast. These
Out
are
of
Dead
10?
and Breakfast reviews. Yes, no. No, out of 5, I think
Okay.
they do.
I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
Damn.
In 2011, another review for Dead and Breakfast, I mistake, the first one was also for Dead and Breakfast, if I wasn't clear on that, said, it's a bad copycat of Shaun of the Dead. 2 stars.
Damn.
So you see these people are relating it to Shaun of the Dead, and not well.
But it's because they have to have read some other review that said it, and then they brought it in, because there is no way that you can watch those 2 movies side by side and think that they're connected in any way other than
But that's
a comedy horror
But that's
movie.
not my point. My point is that so far in 2009, 2011, 2 stars, 2 stars.
Sure.
Right? And this is 6 years, 8 years now after, well, not 8, but after the movie came out
7.
even, okay? Now, 2014 review for it was amazing movie, funnier than Shaun of the Dead. 5 stars.
Long Black.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking is you see these movies that they come out and there's always these reviewers that are like, best movie ever, and then it's
Right.
like hyphen, and then it's like the smallest font, so you have no idea who the hell it is. It's
Right.
like Joe Blow off the street.
Right. But notice now we're changing. Now we're 2014 and all the reviews are starting to switch. And then a review from 2021. Dead and Breakfast is absolutely outrageously the best zombie horror comedy with gore and slapstick and musical numbers.
Hashtag Robert Ebert. Even though he's been dead for like 15
5
years.
stars. So you can see how the tide has changed. And I just took a sampling. The tide has changed from being critically unacclaimed. What are you looking at me like that for? Actually, you looked at him.
Yeah.
From being rated poorly to getting 5-star reviews. It has achieved cult status.
So what
It
you're
was
getting at.
not critically acclaimed, and now it is a cult.
So what you're getting at
classic.
though is it's like a bourbon. As it ages, it gets better.
If you'd like, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
I think it's just
so
now
then
getting
do you,
its due.
So then do you feel like Shaun of the Dead was more of like a drink that people go to that they know is good and they like it?
It's more of
I
the,
think-
the maker's mark of
No, that's I'm not even going. I'm going the route of like, hey, this is a mixed drink that I like, and so that's why it had the bang of the box office.
I think the point is, it's like, and Lon did hit on it a little
had-
bit before.
Yeah.
It's like, whilst it was still Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, one of their first movies. They'd already done a couple of 2 or 3 actually TV shows that were very successful. Spaced is the key one, and I can't remember whether we mentioned it in the episode. You know, the idea for Shaun of the Dead actually came from an episode of Spaced. So, you know, when you have, and the British film industry is just weird in general, but like generally, if you have a movie that opens in England that has stars in it from a very popular TV show, that's good enough to like finance that film.
Okay.
And I think, you know, Simon Pegg was starting to get some traction in the US.
Mostly
And-
from Spaced even. When Space came over.
Right. So you know, I think that's what kind of brought it over here. So like, I don't think it was a huge success. Clearly more than Dead and Breakfast on opening weekend.
Because it had known stars in it at that time.
Right. And Edgar Wright was known as like an up and coming director.
I do have a little factoid for you. The scene of the zombies when Simon Pegg and his group got to the hedge just before the Winchester, and it was just floaty zombies blocking their path. All those were the fan club of Spaced.
Oh, okay.
That Simon Pegg said, look, you guys want to be in the movie? I'll give you
Damn,
£1
that's cool.
each.
That is
He
cool.
paid them each £1, and they got to be in the movie.
Wow, I
And
didn't
they're
know that.
fans of Spaced, and he signed them all for, signed stuff for them all and everything.
Interesting.
But yep,
Okay.
that in that one scene specifically was all fans of
Cheap
Spaced.
bastard.
So,
I'm just kidding.
well, it was sort of cheap for him, but really he didn't have to pay them anything, and they would have done it.
No, that's
Right.
So, and he signed stuff for them. So, I mean, I'm sure he treated them well, and they got to eat from the craft table too. So, But my point with this is exactly that. I think this was a low budget movie by far. For instance, Shaun of the Dead cost $6.1 million to make. Dead and Breakfast, $500,000.
And you can see every dollar of that 500.
Now,
I think the RV was the $600,000.
And they still,
490.
because they didn't have big name stars
Sure.
like Shaun of the Dead did. They didn't have a high budget like Shaun of the Dead did.
So
they didn't
you
have
prefer-
over-the-top special effects and could afford to pay for Queen songs like Shaun of the Dead.
So what you're saying is you prefer that like a movie is the breakout role for some characters as opposed to
It doesn't even have to be a breakout role. I just
Just
think
meaning
that a
like
good
so-
actor is a good actor,
Yeah.
and they were good actors.
Okay.
Almost all of them. They were good actors in it, and they made that movie a cult classic because even though people blew it off because the budget was low and the special effects weren't outstanding, and you know they had a weird country again, people didn't get it all the time. People now get it. People now love it. It became a cult classic, just like every good cult classic has.
But I mean, you know, as the rebuttal, I don't know what the rebuttal to that would be, because at the end of the day, that doesn't necessarily make it better than Shaun of the Dead.
I think it does in the fact that Shaun of the Dead was destined to be successful because they had the money behind it and the stars behind it.
There are so many movies that get produced with lots of money and stars that still turn out to be
Of course,
crappy.
of course, but this one still had all the earmarks and all the keys to make it a successful film because it had the money behind it, it had the names behind it, and it had the production company behind it, and distribution. It had everything that Dead and Breakfast didn't have.
So you feel
And
that
yet
it
Dead and
would've-
Breakfast is still just as a phenomenal movie.
Right, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I again, I don't.
You heard him, he said yeah.
I
You heard
don't.
it.
I don't disagree,
Yeah.
but it's like I don't know that that's the argument for why it's better.
Okay.
Because I mean, in other words, it's like we
So,
if it had
we disliked Blair Witch Project.
Yes,
Yeah.
But
because it's
Blair Witch Project was
it's-
made
I
for
liked
for
that,
like
yeah.
$27,000.
60, but that's okay.
I thought it was $15.
and all that was for the drip of the.
For the
of the nose.
dripping nose.
But you know that made like $250 million
Sure,
in its
sure,
first run.
Sure.
You know, so in other words, it's like the low budgetness of a movie does not necessarily make it.
Inherently,
so
no.
You feel if it was marketed better, maybe it would have done
No.
even better.
There's a whole things. There's a list of things that it needed in order to get box office success, but it didn't want box office success.
Are you sure?
It got. Well, I shouldn't say it didn't want it.
I'm pretty
Everybody
sure when
wanted
you
it.
make a movie, you
want box office
But
success.
really, what I'm saying is, it achieved, in my mind anyway, the same status as Shaun of the Dead, for different reasons. It is a different movie, but they're both good. But they did it with
less money.
1/8 the budget, and no stars at the time other than David Carradine.
Right,
And
but-
they shot it. Shaun of the Dead was shot in over 2.5 months. They shot Dead and Breakfast in 18 days.
So they shot the load all up front.
They had their money all up front.
Anyway,
Oh,
so
I-
so
He's saying.
so I forgot the point I was going to make now.
Well, that's good. So the point I'm trying to make with that is that they achieved the same or similar status as Shaun of the Dead, with 1/8 the budget, 1/8 the time shot,
I remember what I
and
was
no
gonna say now.
stars.
No. So
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah,
I was a little confused. I know why you
That's
forgot.
a tough response.
So
Yeah,
I
I don't know why
think
you
the
couldn't
point
remember
is
that.
it's like you find 1,000 random people, and I'm going to make up this part of the number, but like at least a quarter of them are going to know Shaun of the Dead as a movie, and a good portion of those have probably seen Shaun of the Dead. There'll be 10 people that have heard of Dead and Breakfast, and probably 3 people that have
But
seen
that
Dead
also
and
kind
I
of points
totally
to his
disagree.
point that
I think
the
there's more than
marketing
that.
and the money behind Shaun of the Dead is what makes that, right?
And
like if it would be
it's
one of
a
those things
bigger
like word of mouth would be different. Like if Shaun of the Dead was not marketed, it was marketed similar, would it have been as popular of a movie? I feel like yes, just based on word of mouth would have probably brought that to to cult status eventually. But I do think that. Yeah, because I had never even heard of Dead and Breakfast until I met you, so it would never have been on my
And
radar.
did you enjoy it?
I did. It was
Okay.
and I'm very critical when someone says, "Oh my gosh, this is the best movie. You've got to see
Sure,
this."
sure. You
So
get
when you
skeptical
said
right
that,
off
I'm
the bat.
like, "Oh, here we go."
Right,
But I still had fun.
Yeah.
So.
And my point to the whole thing is it was able to achieve something with less behind it. They had nothing in their corner like Shaun of the Dead did, and yet they were still able to pull off that movie.
I guess my point is I don't know that necessarily is enough to say that it was a better movie.
Okay.
Make in the comments.
We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving. So
So,
we've got our last one.
Yep. Okay, this is
And
E.
we're going to do this
E.
E as in eclectic.
Okay. Again, lighter on the smell,
Man,
but
what
it's
is
dark in
with me
color.
Spilling? Jesus. All right. Aren't you supposed to use crackers to like cleanse your palate? Anyway,
Don't think you're allowed to say that.
cracker, yes, cracker. Okay. Smells not. Oh god.
Oh my God.
What noise was that?
I don't like it at all.
No.
Okay, here we go. I haven't even done it yet.
That is not good.
Ah.
I
I don't taste anything.
Oh, I really hope this. Now I'm upset because
I got burned.
there's
but
3 that I don't like and only 2 that I like.
I don't think it's that bad.
Oh really? Oh my God, I don't like it at all.
It's not bad.
Wait, what?
It's
Compared
not-
to A though. Compared to A.
Compared to, oh, God.
Or what's
A
the
was-
worst one so far?
Actually,
A is-
C is
A is
the
the
worst
worst
for me
one.
All
right
right,
now.
so taste it compared to
So
C.
I'll do this and maybe a little of this. I don't even want to taste C again. I'm done with that one.
Oh, A is definitely better than E.
Yeah. Well, let's just say E is worse than A. I
Yes,
don't know if
you're
I
right.
want to call A better than anything. I would. I'm
Okay.
down here with that.
No.
So,
Some of us do.
I,
Okay, so let's give our quick review of that. It's not great,
No.
but I don't feel it's horrible. It had a burn. I'm still actually feeling the burn.
My face is like doing this like
Yeah, that's.
scrunched up thing.
yeah, I got the scrunchy nose on that one too.
I didn't get the
I got
scratch.
the scrunchy nose.
It's not horrible. I don't think it's.
Oh.
Well, then again, see, that's the thing. I don't have as refined a palate as you, some bitches.
But see, that's the point of doing this. That is the exact point
Yeah,
of doing
but then
this.
if I
look at
what-
your table and look at my table, and look at Warwick's table.
There's only one table.
Look at the looking glasses and cups. What the fuck?
Oh, there you go. I
The
got it.
front-
Space is in front of us.
You're rating pretty much the same as we rated, give or take. You rated this a little.
Well, I guess the point being the fact that we all agree on what the good ones are.
Yeah.
Correct. B and D so far the favorites among the group. So refined palate or not, we're all similar.
So if you did it this way, it'd be D and B, which would be dead and breakfast.
Oh, clear winner.
You purposely didn't bring a S and O, a T, and a, well,
There's a D.
You got a D. Yeah.
Oh, you can't say.
See,
Okay.
see, he's biased.
I tried.
Well, you know. What can I
Anyway,
say?
so okay, so I want to kind of
Okay.
my question. This is my final question, which ties into, since this is our last shot of this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it a shot. It's not even a full shot, but it is making me burp. Excuse me.
Yeah. I'm okay to go back to those.
So
two,
it's
but
trying
I'm
to
not
come back up. Anywho, what would make okay, we're talking to somebody that's about to see the movie. They don't want to see the movie, but you are going to tell them the ending. Hence why we're on the last one, ending.
Ooh.
You are trying to converse with them about how the ending of Dead and Breakfast is better than Shaun of the Dead. The ending of the film.
But it isn't.
So, all right. So this is a little bit.
It's a little tricky.
It is a little tricky because again, it's kind of hard to compare those two specific aspects of
You're
it.
supposed to be defending the shit out of your movies.
It was a different movie. Well, yes, I think the ending. See, the ending of
Now,
Shaun of the Dead.
This does show that you guys both liked the films because you're like,
Right.
It's
you
true,
know, you don't
it's
want to
true.
be like, I was hoping
Oh,
you'd
no,
be
I'll
like
bash
swinging
all-
at him by now, but
I'll bash the movie, but the point is, I still like that movie. But I do, if I had my choice,
they're talking at it like it's ex-girlfriends. Like, this one wasn't that bad as this one.
I would never say that about an ex-girlfriend.
yeah,
I'd
that's
say
true.
they all sucked.
Yeah,
Wink.
some swallow.
But my point is,
Yeah, you saw
okay.
what I did.
But my point is, if I had the two movies to choose from, I'm always going to go to Dead and Breakfast before I go to Shaun of the Dead, and that is the truth.
Okay, but what about the ending makes you like it so much? Because
Well, it's
obviously
not
the ending is
that makes the movie.
I know, but I'm forcing you into this.
Don't force me,
yes,
brother.
yes.
Okay, so
I want you to try and convince somebody that the ending of Dead and Breakfast is better than Shaun of the Dead.
so
The way they managed to use a crossbow that isn't strung properly to somehow force a bone that isn't fully back, even if it was strung properly, at the point to push it forward enough. That's how I would explain it.
That was more
I wouldn't.
mid-ending. That's not quite the ending, but that's cool. If he wants to just start nitpicking all the bad parts he considers bad parts of the movie, that's fine. Let
it's
him do
not a
that.
bad part,
No,
but the
no,
point
no.
is like...
No, it's okay.
This is what I was expecting.
It's an
let your
unrealistic
pettiness
part.
come out. Let your pettiness come out. That's cool. The ending of the movie was where they burned the Kuman Thong to help get rid of the spirits. After they stopped all the spirits, they did kill the guy, but then
They should
they
have had
released
David
all the rest of
Carradine
the
wearing a
spirits.
thong. That would have been
no,
hilarious.
they knew that.
So
would
then
not
when they
have been-
burned his body.
that would have been in a closet. But then
with a belt around
Yeah,
his neck.
the thong is around his neck. Oh,
too soon. Too soon.
It's been like 10 years. Oh.
So the ending of it was one of those good old-fashioned endings where they leave it open for a sequel because they tried to burn the Kuman Thong and they walk away and don't pay attention to the fact that the actual Kuman Thong box did not burn.
Correct. So
So
that left it open for a
They
sequel.
did leave that great trope of leaving the movie open for a sequel, which
And when,
I
is,
love.
and when is that sequel going to happen?
It's not, but when is the sequel to Shaun of the Dead going to happen?
Okay.
It's not, but
Okay,
they
so
didn't
you've-
really leave
you've
that
done
one
yours.
open.
They didn't
now,
leave that open. They ended that story the way the whole movie should have been ended.
I ask you the same question. Why would Shaun of the Dead's ending be better than Dead and Breakfast?
Because there was...
See? Winner.
Because...
Stutter.
Winner.
Because there was... Because, what I was going to say was because there was an ending.
Speechless.
Because
You could say that. You could say there was closure.
They
There
both
was
had
closure was
they
the better
both
way to
had
look at it.
closure.
But so in other words, it's
They
like,
both
you know,
had closure.
they were in an impossible situation, and because of the sacrifice of Ed, you know, they were. It was like that end part is heartfelt. It's like, you know, Ed and Shaun. They weren't whacking each other off.
I didn't even see.
Practically.
But like, you know,
You saw Ed kind of start to go down.
I was going to
on
say,
him.
he didn't open his mouth and go, ah.
Yes, he did.
yes, and then he
Yes,
farted.
he
Just pull
did.
his teeth out.
But no, it's like, you know, just that final part of Ed realizing that you know, he needed to, as long as you didn't say Siberian, that, you know, he needed to let Shaun go.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think that's just an awesome end to a movie. And then,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
then obviously, you know,
Now,
they come
There's nothing
out-
more heartfelt than keeping your dead friend in your
But
shed.
think about it.
As
What
a
was
prisoner.
Ed already? He was a deadbeat. So it's no different other than
Well,
he's in the
he
shed.
spent all
only.
day exactly. He spent all day playing video games stoned.
Correct.
Like now he's playing video games all day.
Away from Liz and
So let
Dead.
your friend rot, because obviously now he's easy to beat at video games. So now you're taking advantage of his stupidity because he's a zombie. He's rotting in the shed. You're basically torturing your buddy for your own enjoyment. Way to go, Shaun.
Or now here's my question: How long would they live after
You
becoming
mean
a
they're not
zombie?
living? They're dead.
I I understand that, but then
How long do they survive
do
before
they just
decay?
basically rot until the point of their heart? Just,
Well,
they didn't
No,
really
no,
touch
it's
on
the brain.
that.
It's the brain, not the heart.
you can't really, if you start doing logic behind zombies, it just
know.
doesn't work out because of
Same
the,
thing. Like, why didn't the Kuban thong actually burn?
Right. It's a horror movie. Don't insert logic
All right.
in everything.
All right, I will
Yes.
stop there.
and yeah, I mean, in why does oh my God, I really
Spit
did
it
go
out,
like,
brother.
why is it that thank you. Why is it that like little pieces of someone sticking into a box?
It's to capture their soul because you need a piece of that person. That's very old, like voodoo stuff. You need a person's lock of their hair to cast a spell on them.
Or
It's the
like in
exact
Blair Witch
same
Project,
thing.
which nobody got, is that if you pulled somebody's teeth and tongue out and put it in some sort of a cloth, you can actually imitate their voice. Which
So,
is why Josh was. I
that
will defend that to the end.
Is an age-old plot point. Is that if you have a piece of somebody, you can capture their soul. That's why. Did that answer your question?
No.
So then, okay. So then, to tie things into that, if you have a piece of your friend still remaining, aka
Yep.
his body,
Yep.
maybe just his.
Like he had his
I
whole
mean,
body.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
But
Then-
he doesn't. He's not. But Shaun is not the keeper of the soul.
He's not, but he's got a
But
friend
who wants
that.
the like? Who wants the soul? It's like
Because Ed's a deadbeat. Who wants a deadbeat soul?
Exactly.
Way to go,
because
Shaun.
it's just a.
exactly.
Now here's the kicker.
But he has a friend for life.
No, he doesn't. He has a friend in death until he falls apart, and he's
Or his
using
friend-
him to make
or-
himself feel better about winning.
Yeah,
at
or his
video
friend
games.
eats him, right?
Because
I
let's
mean,
face it, Ed was always beating Shaun at video games.
He was.
So now this is Shaun's chance. He's an asshole. Shaun's an asshole because he's torturing Ed just so he can beat him in video games.
Wow.
And hiding him from his wife, girlfriend, whatever they're doing
Or
at that time.
she knew that he was there.
So bottom line is, I don't know if we ever came to like an actual conclusion, but I think we'll leave that up to the viewers to
here's
actually.
what I'd like
Shaun
to
the
do.
Dead
Here's what I'd
is
like to do.
clearly a better.
Wait.
better
So here's what I like to do. Let's pull out the bourbons, see what we got, see what we rated,
bourbons. I was
see if
getting
we can
ready.
guess them, and then Warwick will do some closing statements, and I'll do closing statements,
Okay.
and then we'll wrap it up.
All right.
Right?
Okay.
So
Ready?
it gives
Go
you
for
some time to think of a closing statement.
yeah.
Okay. Here are the bourbons that we've been drinking in no particular order
jeez.
because I don't know which one's which. I know what I think.
Which
one
is
of them
which?
But
so did Amy mark A, B, C, D, E?
she did. So they're marked
Okay.
on the bottom of the bottle.
Okay.
One of them was Jack
said
Daniel's,
Jack Daniel's.
Bottled in Bond, which we had in one of our episodes.
Okay.
Okay. Another one, Four Roses.
Oh. I
All
think you
right.
nailed that one.
Okay, which he thinks he knows which one it is.
Yeah,
I also think
I
I know
think- I
which
think
one
I'm
it
just
is.
going to
I
leave
think-
this here.
I think
But
that's D.
but we don't
I'm just
know
gonna
yet.
leave this
Yeah,
here.
you're gonna tap that. Oh my God!
There it is.
That's
Sorry,
his
that was
natural
Jesus.
reaction.
Wow, that was awkward.
I was supposed to lick it.
I pulled this out
Oh, fuck.
to see if you guys really did hate it
Oh.
or if you really did like it.
That's a dick move.
So we're gonna see now. And to make it more difficult for that point,
I would love for Maker's Mark to be.
if this one,
Yes.
that would be phenomenal.
That would be.
Right.
Is this
So,
another Maker's Mark?
It is. So this is Maker's Mark French Oak Staved.
Oh.
And we just talked about that one. So now we have a French Oak Staved Maker's Mark to make it a little more difficult to say which is which. Wouldn't that be funny if those were the two top?
I will hold
Four
They,
on.
Roses was
they,
down
they
here.
will not be the
See
top
it?
ones.
And then this is a bourbon that I have been known to say I do not like. This one I'm not a big
Jim Bam?
Jack
Jambam.
Oh,
Jack
Brett
Daniels
Benny.
fan.
Bam, bam.
It's great for mixing, but
Jam.
I did not like that. Jim Beam.
Jim Beam. Ah, that's what
That's-
I can almost guarantee.
I think that's A. Personally.
That's what I was leaning towards.
Personally.
I knew it
Okay.
tasted familiar.
Now, okay,
Possibly.
so out of the worst ones, or do we want to start with the best ones?
Let's do the best
B.
one.
Let's do the best.
Which was best for you guys?
I
B
had- I
or
had
D?
D.
I had D being best.
Okay, I had them
God,
pretty
if
much
it's
the same.
Maker's Mark, I'm gonna be pissed.
I don't know which one they are.
I think D was definitely better.
Okay, so D and B, possibly D being
Dead
better than B,
breakfast.
right? So I'm saying these two is definitely Four Roses.
Yep, I
Okay.
agree.
So let's see which one it is. It's D.
Told you.
So there you go. So
Ah.
Four Roses got the highest mark from pretty much everybody.
Everybody, yep.
Okay, and it's a damn fine bourbon.
It is.
It's awesome.
This is $22, and it is for the price, the best bourbon for the price that you can get.
When I was in Nashville, I was doing the small batch version. but
Yes.
That was my go-to.
There's that, if you like this, there's that much better
Yeah.
as you go down the road. So people, we lost some conversation back there.
That's all right.
Let's repeat some of this just a little bit to recap, and I
Sure.
can
Yeah, we can recap.
adjust the two. So basically, D was Four Roses, and we all guessed that.
Yep.
Which I'm
A
surprised.
was Jim Beam, and we all guessed that.
I didn't, but
You didn't?
I think you two did.
Okay, so that was and C, Warwick and I guessed correctly,
Yep.
and
I said no.
Logan was not
I said
even
it
close
was
to
bond,
that. So
the bonded.
and these were all that we didn't. This one we loved. This was our top,
Yep.
Correct.
Absolutely.
and these other two were our bottom. Pretty much for everybody.
Yeah.
Correct. So
Maybe
so,
it wasn't
yeah,
the very bottom or whatever.
No,
but
it was-
this
they were
one.
both, yeah.
The Jim Beam was my very, very bottom.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
A.
I had E as my bottom.
Okay, so and E was the
Oh,
Jack Daniels.
wait, no, yeah, I had E as the bottom.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
A
No,
was,
E's
No,
we haven't raised.
E is the bottom.
E and B are clearly Maker's Mark.
Okay.
We just
Correct.
have to work out which way around.
Right. C was the Jack Daniels, the purple.
correct.
That was the Jack
And
Daniels,
that's what
which
the
we
one
all
that's the
also
one I
had low.
had in I had it in the middle, but yes. Like,
Okay, so I had this one in the middle and this one at the top, or lower middle, really. This one at the top, but there's two bourbons that I really like here. Normally apparently maybe not compared to some of these other ones.
So I think B is the French
You
state.
think B is French oak,
Yep, French oak.
and you think E is the standard Maker's
Correct, which I had lowest.
Mark. And you had which one?
I had lowest was
B?
E.
Oh, lowest was E. Yeah, okay, so you and I are in the same
And
camp.
A was my.
But out of these two,
Right.
B and E. What do you
B,
got?
No.
B was like up there with me.
Okay.
For me. So
Right.
I would say it was D, then B.
Right.
For first, then
Same here,
second.
same here.
And then E was like bottom of the barrel.
Not the bottom of the barrel. You had
Oh,
A
no.
as the bottom. And
No, I had
C.
E. E was definitely the bottom of my barrel. Look, I didn't even finish it.
So
A,
this
I
is
finished.
something to make note of, is the fact that
It's-
they're both Maker's Mark.
Yes.
So it's the same recipe. One has further aging in French oak staves, but
The French get you again.
okay. So
Oui, oui. Oh.
so you think
I
B,
think
the one
B-
we rated higher, is this one, and the lower one is this
Absolutely.
one. And you think the same thing?
Yes.
B is this one, and this is it.
Yes.
I'd be
Right.
terrified to know this, but I fear that you're correct. Although I really hope that this is B.
So where did you rate E?
I rated it above A and C,
Okay, so in
but
the middle.
just above. Yeah, in the middle, but lower middle. I mean, I really did have it pretty low on the totem.
And you
These
were-
two were definitely on the top,
Yep.
but it was above A and C, but barely.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
So if this is E,
Drum
I'm going to
roll.
be upset.
Of course it's going
But
to
if
be
this
E.
is B, I'm going to rub it in your faces forever.
I will die if that's what I think it is. I think our taste buds are pretty damn.
It's E. Of course it's E.
It's E. It's E. So B, the one everybody loves, second best.
That's the French.
Four Roses and Maker's Mark French
So there
Oak.
we go.
And this
But we
is
chose, yeah, so
above
this
these
first,
two.
second,
So
last.
let's put them in a row. Would this be from left to right
Yeah,
on,
we'll-
for them, or right to left
Sure.
for them?
We'll tell them what it is.
Here, we'll do it correct way.
Number one.
So number one,
Four Roses.
number two, number three, number four, and number five.
This was not number three. This was our.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
No, it was three.
It
in the
was for
middle.
you.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
so
for you
two
guys.
of us had it
For
the
me,
lowest.
Where
we
were
had
you
it the
guys?
lowest.
You went between these two?
I
No,
would say,
lowest.
Yeah.
Below Jim Beam.
Yes.
You
Yes.
motherfuckers are lying
Like
your
I
fucking teeth
I
off.
had D, B,
You're
C,
lying.
A, E.
Yeah, I had DB.
You're moving that down as
I think
we
I had.
talk.
C
Literally,
Oh, man.
well,
Almost basically the
you can't
exact same
really
as you.
see it probably on the camera, but
We've
all-
got it on tape, brother.
All I did
DBCAE.
on tape.
Film,
Um,
electric, digital. I don't fucking know.
all I
It's
did
on
was
the
when we
hard drive.
revealed it, I just moved them to the side.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
So that was
it
fun.
It was fun. It was interesting.
It was tough.
For me, it was interesting to know if I knew my bourbons, and I think I did okay. Although, I do have this as a staple in my bar, and I'm constantly drinking it, and I have it,
And you rated it lower.
and I rated it higher before, but here, I rated it lower.
Yeah, because you rated it lower.
It was up here for me. It's in the middle, so really, it's not as low as you guys rated it. But at least it kept you guys true to your review.
I think
Right.
I think it's
That
funny
was
that
done.
we're all like the top two. We were
We're
spot
both
on.
on the top two.
Yeah.
So me and novice.
That's very
I'm like
true.
happy with my choice. But,
Well, right, exactly. I mean, I think the point is it's.
but it's amazing how that. Yeah,
I'm not going to say it's easy, but like, it's easier to tell, the extremes of the best ones versus
Sure.
the not best ones.
I think the only thing that kept the French oak stave
Trying to
one,
be positive.
yeah, way to be positive, was that it was extra aged, so it did get a little smoother than this one, a little
Yeah,
bit
absolutely.
lighter
But
bouquet,
maybe
and
the
the French
French-
oak brought a little
yeah.
bit of honey into it, a little bit of sweetness into it,
Okay.
a little bit of vanilla into it, although it's not like overpowering or anything. But this does taste rougher than this for sure, compared side by side.
I'm happy with it.
Everybody good with that?
I
It was fun.
mean, I think it's actually. I think it's funny now that we have these laid out that, like, I would in my head have always put Jim Beam below Maker's Mark,
Yes.
and yet,
Yep.
whilst they were definitely
It
close
was
in my
pretty
mind,
close, though. Yeah.
Because our
'cause-
taste buds haven't changed then too. That means we did not like Maker's Mark, right? We didn't
See,
like it.
but that's
and
where
yet-
to me it boggles me
But that-
because I
well,
do like
but not
Maker's
so
Mark.
much. But that shows the difference between how it's aged and what it's aged in.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I just
Sure,
did
but
not
that was
like
extra aged, so that's unfair. Just like this was hotter
No, but
than
no,
Jack
no.
Daniels.
But
because
this
of the
was
bottom
blind,
bond.
we didn't
But again,
True,
to like go back
true,
to what I was saying
true.
before, how much do you think it is because that is a staple in your bar?
Right.
It is it's a taste that you are incredibly used to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I see where you're going with this, and I agree. I think it's because I've been drinking this. So back in the day, I was more into the punk scene than anything else, and I would go to a punk bar in Chicago called Delilah's.
Man, you would
Delilah's
drink Jim
was
Beam.
no, Delilah's had drink specials, and all their drink specials always were this kind of beer and Maker's Mark, shots of Maker's Mark. So that was what you did.
Yeah.
When you were at Delilah's, that was Maker's Mark. That was Maker's Mark territory. And if that's where I was hanging out, that's what I was drinking.
But when you're doing it as a shot with a beer, were you really tasting it?
Well, we didn't do it shots. You get a shot. That doesn't mean you shoot it.
Okay.
Right? Everybody that does shots. I don't do shots. I like
But it's
sipping.
punk.
I like tasting.
Why didn't you like shoot it and then slam the glass down?
Well, because punk doesn't mean you're just a hooligan.
No, you've been watching the news too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kids.
Way to buy into the narrative.
Hey,
Way to go, Logan. Okay, but so literally, that could be, to your point, because that's what I always drank out there. To me, that was like what you meant by bourbon.
Right.
And Jack Daniels, everybody knew, and Jim Beam, everybody knew, but Maker's Mark was different. It was special and had a cool top, and it was like.
But it's funny. I mean, not that it necessarily comes into it like now, but before I moved to the States, I'd never heard of Maker's Mark before.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
I don't get that.
everyone knows Jim Beam,
Yep.
and everyone knows Jack Daniels.
They have better exporters.
Right.
Maker's Mark is not. And Maker's Mark has come up now. Obviously, it's as in 2022, it's the most popular bourbon in America.
Right.
It kind of goes along though with us watching movies, right? Like the movie itself might age better. Hence, like Dead and Breakfast,
Sure.
as you proved earlier.
Sure.
You know, and
There,
Did he-
notice
did
he
he-
said I
did-
proved
did he
it.
though? Did he
Notice he
though?
said I proved
Did
it.
he though?
He's right.
yeah,
He's right.
He grabbed some
Can't
stuff
deny
off the
that.
internet.
Can't deny that.
Some reviews,
Yeah.
but like yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe that's similar to you grew up having Maker's Mark, so you know it's got a specific unique flavor. Maybe it's changed too since
Well,
the time
clearly.
you had it.
And I think that's the reason
'Cause
why
that
it
was
rated
back when
low
like
now.
stone tablets were being written on.
But there's a point. You're right, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I
in
am
the
right.
fact that it came down
Uga
in
was
my
the
rating.
language. No, anyway.
Ooga. We didn't use Uga. We used way different.
It
more
was like little
Unga
symbols.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we used
Handprints
Unga
on everything.
Ooga Booga was the lower class cake. We
Oh,
used
okay.
Unga Bunga. Anyway, the point is, this stuff, I did rate it lower now
Yep.
because
It's
now
good.
I've got a lot more bourbons under my palate. So I've got a lot more. So this ended up apparently.
But
Getting
below Jim
bumped
Beam
down.
is
But
interesting.
It's not below for me.
I know.
For me, it was up here. For you
But
guys,
so
it was below.
you know, it's kind of likening to, you know, ideally, if you had a choice between a good steak and a hamburger, you're probably going to pick the steak.
Hamburger?
Hamburger.
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 I don't know what's the movie? Write it down in the comments. What movie are we quoting from?
But so the point is it's like that doesn't mean that the hamburgers, you know, hamburgers aren't bad.
Movies, but go ahead.
I said bag, by the way. Hamburgers aren't bad. It just means that steaks are better. So,
Correct.
like, the Maker's Mark is your hamburger. That's the one that you can have all the time.
Good analogy.
Like, you know,
Good analogy.
There's
I understand
there's
that.
nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
But like, you know, now that you've tried steak, you know,
Yep.
now that you've tried better bourbons.
Yes. You're right.
It doesn't mean you don't want to have
I
it.
still
every now
like
and
it.
then. Yeah.
He's got an
although-
attachment to it.
Yes.
Although I did remember making a face when I first tasted it, but then again, I did have. I mean, that was which one was that? Was that D? No, that was B.
No,
so-
E. No,
that was the
E.
second one.
E was
Maker
Maker Mark.
Yeah.
Correct. So it was the last
God.
one in the realm. So
Picturing Maker's Mark.
we did have a bunch of other bourbons before, and that does make a difference. And I was originally going to just do 3 bourbons, but I really wanted to test out Jim Beam, and I really wanted to test out how this rate. I knew this would be first.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound pompous about it, but let's face it.
I-
This one you've had before.
I'm fairly proud of myself.
There you go, for knowing
that
that.
it's like and I even
Well,
said
you've been getting a palate, my friend. You've
I,
been gaining
and I
a
even
palate.
said 4 Roses.
Yeah.
So.
You've been
Yeah,
gaining
you
a
did say
palate.
4 Roses.
So-
Once you said that, I was like, bazinga.
Right, and I knew exactly which one this one was, probably because it was the hottest, because that's the highest proof out of anything.
I should go watch the video. I did say Jack
And that
Daniels at
burned
one
us
point,
out.
but I don't remember which one.
Well,
I
that's a
said
good point, if it didn't get cut out of the fucking
that. No, it didn't.
recording.
I think we're all good.
Okay. So we did pretty good. So I'm proud of us for this. We actually
Yeah, this
did
was
have a
fun.
good range.
This was definitely fun.
We do know our bourbons a little better than we might have
oh,
thought
God,
we know.
I did not think I'd get any of them.
There you go, and you did fairly well. So now I think we should have some closing. Do you have any closing remarks as to
Yes.
why Shaun of the Dead is better than Dead and Breakfast?
So I think, kind of as we said earlier, I think the reality is this kind of pitting the two movies against each other kind of came out of that statement of Dead and Breakfast was the American Shaun of the Dead. I still don't necessarily
Agreed, it's kind of not.
think that that's the true statement,
Right.
despite the fact that Lon was somehow able to find multiple reviews that said the same thing.
But we know
can
why
find
there were
anything on the
comparable
internet.
reviews.
Yeah.
We know why because they're both zombie movies. They both have music.
And they were both done in
and they're both done
2004.
in the same year. So
Right.
yes, it's not a natural comparison, but I see where people.
But
got
so, I mean, I still believe that Dead and Breakfast is a 100% watchable movie. And I know you made fun of me when I said watchable before. It's a totally enjoyable movie.
Sure.
If I go over to Lon's house and he's playing Dead and Breakfast, I will happily sit and watch it through to the end.
But will you sing along?
Yeah, I think he would. He
I
has.
will.
Yeah.
It's like I
Coming to kill you.
really
Coming to kill you.
Yeah.
Zachariah, Los Lobos Riders, not Los Lobos, Lobos Riders.
I'll say Los
So
Lobos, isn't it,
it's
the-
like I think that's really I think it's a great movie. I still do contend that Shaun of the Dead is the better movie, but I think it's a different movie.
Because you have
it's
a
a-
refined taste for the British
Yes.
side of things.
I would like to hope that it's not because it's British. Like, I hope in myself that I'm not biased in picking the British movie, because there's plenty of crappy British movies out there. But it's like, I just like Simon Pegg, I like Edgar Wright, I like
most people do.
Nick Frost. And so, and there are just so many just goddamn funny moments in that movie. So I would still ultimately rate Shaun of the Dead better, but I would never in a million years tell people not to watch Dead and Breakfast because Shaun of the Dead is better.
He's so polite.
I would say watch
So
watch them
Englishly
both,
polite.
make your own decision.
Fuck that.
But
Let
Shaun
me
of
tell
the
you.
Dead, but Shaun of the Dead is better.
Let me tell you why Dead and Breakfast is a better movie than Shaun of the Dead.
You can totally tell American.
Oh my God, he's literally written an essay.
Not.
He's got an essay on his
Yes.
computer.
So, Dead and Breakfast.
Chat GPT, people.
Version 4.
Dead and Breakfast is like the slightly mental mutt in a room full of purebreds. Yes, it may sit. Yes, it may sit
that a
when it's
positive?
told to roll over, but it tries its best to please you, and is still lovable and still makes you happy.
You get closing remarks.
Dead and
over here.
Breakfast. Dead and Breakfast is the underdog. America loves the underdog because we identify with the underdog. We are the underdog. When under oppression from Great
political
Britain, American colonists were just a bunch of scrappy misfits, the underdogs.
Shot heard around the world.
Yet these misfits did things in their own way and earned their rights.
And
Dead
became
and Breakfast
zombies.
earned its place. Be damned those Brits have put out with their fancy budgets and high-end celebrities and elaborate special effects. Dead and Breakfast hands out the same amount of fun with almost no budget, mostly no-name celebrities at the time, and basic practical effects. Does Shaun of the Dead have the balls to pull off line-dancing
Should start playing,
zombies?
like,
So where's the music?
America.
I think
beautiful.
not.
America.
Dead and
Wow.
Breakfast is clearly the superior film. Thank you, and good night.
Wow. Wow. Now try saying that without it written in front of you.
Hell no. I tried to memorize that 3 times, and I was like, oh, wait, I forgot this part about Great
I wanted to
Britain and
end it on a
oppression.
flip.
So I tried to do the oppression thing. So anyway, thank you for joining us. Please give us your thoughts. Who's the bigger idiot, me, Warwick, or just Logan for sitting there in the middle like a moderator? So
Like a
tell us your
Sasquatch.
comments.
Like a Sasquatch.
Let us know if there's a
By
movie
the
you'd
way,
like
do we notice that Lon like shaved his beard a little bit to make him?
Trimmed it's called. I didn't shave. I trimmed.
Okay, trimmed his beard to make him look a little bit more presentable.
As opposed
I have
to
just hair everywhere.
This guy,
that.
I'm growing it out for locks of love.
really?
Really?
Yes, that's what I like to do. So
Really?
this will be the second
When
time
is
that I've
Lots
done
of Love? Because we're waiting.
Yeah. He's
Is it soon?
He's skipping a year.
Soon.
It's in the leap year.
it. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so again, thank you for joining us. Please join us in our next episode. We have no idea what it's going to be yet. Why don't you tell us what it should be? and we'll review it, pair it, give us your bourbons, give us your liquor, give us your loved one, give us your lost and huddled masses. But please, like, subscribe, and follow.
And please do not give us your maker's mark.
Yes. For God's sake.
No, I've got plenty in my bar. Thank you.
Can you put this one back in?
No.
Yeah. You might as well. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so one of the things we do have to do is work out why.